Thank you, Presiding Officer. I welcome the opportunity to speak in this debate, and I will keep my contribution really brief, as colleagues have described the issues really well already, and I've scribbled out loads of what I was going to say. I thank Jamie Halker-Johnson for bringing the debate forward, and I also want to thank the Stove Industries and the Stove Architects and Land and Estates for their briefings ahead of the debate. And we've heard that some of the content of the Heat in Buildings Bill has been controversial, particularly for people in remote and rural and island communities, and we've heard that across chamber from rural colleagues today. My inbox has had muckle contact from people across Dumfries and Galloway and the borders, and in Eleanor Whittam's contribution she mentioned grid connection. Indeed, according to the Scottish Government's own estimates, 34% of dwellings in Dumfries and Galloway are off the gas grid, and that's a higher proportion than for the whole of Scotland, which has an average of 16%. Many of these homes, my constituents, rely on wood-burning stoves and biomass boilers for heating and for their hot water, and also for cooking, and others have said that already. And as was confirmed by the Minister at the topical question on Tuesday, she listened to the concerns raised by rural communities. The Minister stated that she will be willing to review the proposed regulations on wood-burning stoves and biomass boilers with the intention to adapt them to address the issues of inflexibility that have been raised. And I know this will be welcome news for my constituents who have contacted me about this. For people in rural Wigtonshire, Dumfriesshire and for the borders, there exists deep concern over the current proposals, and in particular I was also contacted by constituents over the cost of having to change their whole heating system away from wood-burning stoves and biomass boilers, particularly at a time of energy poverty and a Westminster-inflicted cost of living crisis. The Minister's announcement is therefore an example of how the Government will listen to the views of rural Scotland and ensure policy works for everyone. And I agree with Eleanor Whittam when she said that perhaps, as well as, let me just finish this wee point, I agree with Eleanor Whittam that when she said that as well as local government committee, that this could have come to rural committee also. That was part of an issue I raised recently about cross-committee, cross-portfolio working, and we saw this with the Good Food Nation Bill, which only went to the Rural Committee, and it didn't even come to the Health Committee, and I'm a member of both, and I see a warrant of cross-portfolio working, and I will take that intervention.
Jamie Halker-Johnson, briefly.
I'm grateful to Emma Harper taking the intervention, and I agree with her on terms of the cross-party and the point that Eleanor Whittam said about silos. And I recognise that this is maybe not a mess of this minister's making, but less than 2 months after these regulations have been introduced, they're having to be reviewed. It is not a case of the Scottish Government listening to rural communities. They should have done that before these were brought in.
Emma Harper.
So I thank Jamie Halker-Johnson for that intervention. My understanding that the review has already started and it's already taken place. But again, it perhaps highlights the fact that sometimes the steps that are taken, we need to have the voices of more cross-party, cross-portfolio working. My colleague Brian Whittle has said that as well in another debate that we had recently. I understand time is tight, Presiding Officer, so I know the Minister has already undertaken this review. I look forward to the review. We know we need to decarbonise heating in our homes, so I look forward to the progress as we take this forward. So now I'll stop there, Presiding Officer.